During this panel. So I will like to introduce first the presenters and the panelists. The presenter, Ms. Ritu Sen, who's the director from the OESL Ministry of Education, who's here with us, and our esteemed speakers, Dr. Sudha Acharya, so Principal ITL School Delhi, Ms. Sumiti Chavare, who's from the Air Force School Pune, who's joining in from Maharashtra, and Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who's lecturer DIET Shimla, Himachal. I am told that he's yet to join, but I'm sure in due course he will join in. I also greet our nodal officer for the session, Professor Vinay Singh from the NCRT, as well as the rapporteur for the session, Dr. Bharti from CISD. As well as all the policymakers, administrators from different states, the academicians, including those from the NCRT, the experts, school principals, and especially our teachers and the special teachers and professionals and other stakeholders of education who have joined in today for this webinar. Namaskar, a very good morning to all of you. You know, as you are all aware, that a series of webinars, I have to give this background since I have been given the mantle from DOE to do so. So a series of webinars are being organized by DOESL Ministry of Education for celebrating the Shikshak Parv 2021 in honor of all the teachers who have done great work during the pandemic and also to take the NEP forward. And in this line of this series of webinars from the 7th, the event, the inaugural session, which was done by Honorable Prime Minister himself, there have been daily webinars being organized across different 9 subsections of the main theme under which this Shikshak Parv has been organized. And the theme for this special year in which we are celebrating the Amrit Mahotsav, the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of India at 75 celebrations. The theme of this session is quality and sustainable schools, learnings from schools in India. In line with this theme, the special theme for which we have today joined in is nurturing inclusive classrooms. Now, before I go into the details of the topic of the learnings and the deliberations which go on during the session today, I do wish to, at the outset itself, do want to commend the organizers for the thoughtful selection of the topic, as well as the thoughtful selection of the wordings of the topics, especially the word nurturing, you know, which is something, nurturing is something which we do to help something or someone to grow, to develop, or to succeed. And truly, it is about time that the concept of inclusive education and inclusive classrooms gets nurtured for our young citizens and the future generations of our country, and from all across schools across India. And it is indeed the need of the hour for several reasons. You know, I say this because the Constitution of India lays down equality and guarantees equality. Article 21 recognizes the right to education as a fundamental right. The Sustainable Development Goals 4.0 obliges India to ensure that inclusive and equitable quality education is and for promoting lifelong opportunities for all is to be ensured by 2030. The United Nations Conventions on Rights for Persons with Disability, the UNCRPD, was ratified by India on 1st October 2007, and its Article 24 mandates the state parties to ensure an inclusive education system at all levels. Now, it highlights that the inclusive education is to be provided with the aim of to fully develop human potential and the sense of dignity and self-worth, develop the personality, talent, and creativity to the fullest potential of the person with disability, which enables them to participate effectively in a free society. Now, to align our domestic policies along with the laws along with UNCRPD, the government enacted the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. This RPWD Act envisions and mandates inclusive education in a manner that it's a rights-based act as against the earlier act of 1995, which was a welfare-based act. Our National Education Policy 2020 is in tune with both these things, the SDGs 4.0 as well as the RPWD Act 2016, and provides for renewed impetus to inclusive and equitable education. You know, this broad parameters that I just mentioned was basically to reflect that the legislative framework as well as the commitment of the government to work for providing inclusive and equitable and inclusive education is all set in place. So that the students with and without disabilities learn together, and the system of learning and teaching is suitably adopted and adapted to meet the learning needs of students with disabilities or children with special needs. It's now it's now time for the different stakeholders like you and me to nurture inclusive education and inclusive classrooms. And I do wish to here point one fact out, that while today's session is focusing on children with special needs, however, and keeping those needs in mind, however, there is more to the concept of equitable and inclusive education, as mentioned in chapters 6 and 14 of the National Education Policy 2020, that education is a single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality that helps in ultimately each citizen of the country to realize and achieve and have the opportunity to dream, to thrive, and to contribute to the nation. A very well-worded NEP 2020, I must say. And therefore, no child should be left behind and lose the opportunity. This includes not just children with special needs, it also includes the socio-economically disadvantaged groups, be it gender-based, be it due to socio-culturally or geographical identities or socio-economic reasons, or it could be victims or children in vulnerable conditions. This session, however, is primarily more focused towards children with special needs. I wanted to make this point here. Now, having said that, let us begin today's webinar with a focus on children with special needs and children with disabilities. And it is important to note that now, unlike the earlier Act of 1995, which had identified 7 disabilities. Now there are 21 disabilities which have been identified by the RPWD Act of 2016, which means that we have 14 more disabilities, and these include, besides the visual impairment and hearing impairment and ID, the earlier referred to as mental retardation or the intellectual disabilities now, we also have the panorama of the ASD, the autism spectrum disorder, as well as the SLDs or the specific learning disabilities, which have different kinds of disabilities, as you all know. The dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, aphasia. So the whole panorama is covered. Why I'm saying this, that we moved to 21. It also means that there are different levels of disabilities. You could be ranging from mild to moderate to high, which means that it increases and enhances the challenges of the educator that much more, because they not only need to understand and cater to this entire range of disabilities which have to be looked at, or children with special needs, but also need to know that there are various levels, and therefore the teaching learning styles, the curriculum modulation, the examination assessment systems, everything needs to be catered to, keeping all this in mind. It is indeed a challenge, but I will say that when we are working and deliberating today on a topic of nurturing inclusive classrooms, we should look at it as an opportunity. That's something that we've not looked at in providing for a lot of our younger children and our students with special needs. This is an opportunity to think. After all, COVID, with all the negatives that it had, like every cloud has a silver lining, the silver lining was moving on to the online mode. Today, you and I are meeting, despite it was raining and pouring cats and dogs in Delhi in the morning. But we're still going ahead with what we are doing because it provided an opportunity, is looking at it at how we want to look at it. Now, this, while it seems to be, I'm talking and it seems it might just be a jargon, but actually it is mandated in the RPWD Act under under section 2M, which defines inclusive education as a system. So we all are mandated to do it, is the point I'm making. And it's a rights-based act, which I had said earlier. So inclusive education is a system of education wherein students with and without disability learn together, and the system of teaching learning is suitably adopted to meet the learning needs of different types of students with disabilities. In fact, section 16 and 17 of the RPWD Act elaborate and lay out the mandate which we all have to follow for promoting inclusive education and facilitating inclusive education, which means that, admitting children with special needs without discrimination, that providing a barrier-free accessible environment in the schools, the physical infrastructure, the imparting education in appropriate languages, and modes and means of communication, providing transportation facilities to the children with special needs, including the attendance of children, and also children with high support needs and their attendance, training professionals, teachers, and staff. This is extremely crucial. And promoting the use of appropriate and augmented alternate modes of communication, including Braille and sign language, making suitable modifications in curriculum and examination systems, and promoting research to improve learning. So while inclusive education is there, but the RPWD Act, I do want to mention here, also talks about in the Article 31, which provides children with benchmark disabilities, children, that means who have disabilities above 40% and above, the right to free education in neighborhood schools or in special schools of their respective choices. So it's not as if it is the child or the parent has the choice of which school he wants to go to, but it is his right which he wants to choose. So several steps have already been taken. Briefly, if I just want to touch upon the fact that the Department of the School Education and Learning, as well as our department here at the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, have been working together collaboratively to make efforts in this direction, and several steps have been taken. For instance, our department has taken out guidelines for extra time and the facility of a scribe being provided for those children who do need, have difficulty with speed and in writing skills. There is also the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, which envisages strengthening the school infrastructure as well as providing in-service training to teachers, which is also started. I'm sure the speakers will touch upon these. The NCRT, in collaboration with one of our national institutes on sign language, the Indian Sign Language Research Training Center, is working for sign language interpretation of school curriculum of classes 1 to 12 for students, especially with hearing impairment. We recently, on 24th of August, we launched jointly with the Ministry of Education, e-comic come activity book called, it's entitled Priya, an Accessibility Warrior. And this, it's done for bringing in accessibility in the physical spaces and in the, in the website accessibility being taught to younger children. The whole idea is that this hands-on sort of a booklet, a comic, will enthuse the children and change the mindset of the younger children to work towards accessibility and think about it, about accessibility. If we all now talk about Swachh Bharat, we need to talk about Sugamya Bharat. So there has to be holistic accessibility. So that too has been done in collaboration with Ministry of Education. We are moving towards, we have to move towards reasonable accommodation, as well as the concepts of UDL, or Universal Design of Learning, which I'm sure the speakers will talk about. The role of counseling the parents and making them as partners in this process is a crucial and critical element, which also needs to be looked at. One important thing of which is also mentioned in the National Education Policy is to catch them young. The younger a child you get into inclusive education, the better it is for their holistic, coming together. This concept, I want to mention that on in June, our Honorable Prime Minister launched 14 such central government sponsored cross disability early intervention centers. And while the focus is on, of course, reducing the disability burden in these children, but it also has a special area where it's got a preschool or a preparatory school in each of these. And these are coming up as a new policy also, where we'll be setting more such up in other states. And these pre-preparatory schools will be, hand-holding the parents as well as the children to work towards moving towards inclusive education. So basically, a whole lot of steps have been taken. There is also, through the EDIP scheme, we have the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, where we are providing for assistive devices. Books in large print are being done. There's capacity building being worked out with the help of our the Rehabilitation Council of India, as well as our national institutes. There are readiness programs in place. A whole lot of is being done. Essentially, for nurturing, there are four main components: the students, the teachers, the teaching learning processes, and the school per se. These are the main components that have to work together, get amalgamated, and create a culture of inclusive education and change the mindsets by breaking the preconceived stereotypes and prejudices and biases, and instead moving towards the goal of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and Sabka Vishwas. With these words, I will move. There's really so much to say. I've overstepped my time, which I don't want the speakers to do when they are doing so. I must say this, but it's a subject close to my heart, and I can't stop myself when I do this, because this is the only way we can make a difference. I must compliment once again the organizers who have brought in a very nice panel. We have a policymaker and an administrator, a very able one at that. We have a principal, a clinical psychologist, and a person who's got the subject knowledge of a subject which can be quite a challenge, mathematics. And also, so it covers really, you were looking at from the policy point of view. You have a principal who heads an institution and who has worked on the handbook on inclusive education, and we have our clinical psychologist, a very critical element in such providing such inclusive classrooms or inclusive education from an FO school in Pune, as well as Dr. Sanjeev from Himachal. So I will briefly introduce, because while I introduce myself, why not I leave the each of the persons to introduce themselves as they go along, and I take that advantage to cut down on the time limit that I had, and I've already overstepped. I will request Ritu to take on. Each of the speakers has, the presenter has 10 minutes, and the speakers have 15 minutes, as you know, and which will be followed by a question answer session, which the questions have been received through various stakeholders on the MyGov portal. So straight away over to you, Ritu. You two please introduce yourself, and in case you are feeling shy, then let me tell you that she is the recipient of the Prime Minister's Award, as well as the President's Silver Medal, which I'm sure she wouldn't have said in her introduction. So over to you, Ritu.
Ma'am, good morning to all, and my greetings to teachers and special educators who are viewing this program virtually. So, Tarika ma'am has already covered the policy landscape regarding the inclusive education and inclusive education goals. So I'm here to present before you on the theme, Nurturing Inclusive Classrooms. And in this, as Madam already said, it means that we are not leaving any child behind, and we want to ensure learning for all. And what does it mean? Our National Education Policy 2020, which is a guiding document for all of us, says, inclusive and equitable education, while indeed an essential goal in its own right, is also critical to achieving an inclusive and equitable society in which every citizen has the opportunity to dream, thrive, and contribute to the nation. When we are chasing this bigger goal, then we also need to talk about for whom, why, and how. And my next slide covers for whom we need to think about bringing in our schools and giving them the quality education and making them part of the education. So primarily it is called as socially, economically and disadvantaged groups, as our NEP 2020 calls it. So gender identities, particularly the female and transgender individuals, then socio-cultural identities, which are such as scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBCs and minorities, then geographical identities, because students from villages, small towns, aspirational districts, they are not as equipped to, and the access is an issue for them. The children with disabilities, which includes all kinds of disabilities, as Madam had said, and socio-economic conditions, which also put certain children at some disadvantageous positions, like migrant communities, low-income households, children in vulnerable situations, victims of trafficking, orphans, and child beggars in urban areas. These are just illustrative lists, but we all know that there are many who are in the schools, who are outside schools, and both need attention, both need efforts to make them access the education. And when I take you to this slide, then it is not only about access to the education. it is also about participation and also about learning. So why do we need why do we need to nurture inclusive classrooms? The goal is like we want to facilitate joyful learning for all. But if you see it statistically, as per the UDICE 2019-20, then we have around 22.5 lakh students with diverse needs in schools. And out of them, 12.81 lakhs are boys and 9.67 lakhs are girls. And if we see it in rural and urban divide, then there are more children in rural areas, 17.3 lakhs, and 5.18 lakhs in urban areas. Other than that, we have students coming from very, very different contexts, and a quite substantial number of students are in the schools which come from SC communities, ST communities, and minorities. So if we see, then it clearly poses a need that yes, we need to nurture the inclusive classrooms. And if we see the gender aspect of it, then almost 48% of the students are girls. So if we see these three numbers, then they clearly state a need for inclusive classrooms. And if we are not able to make it happen, then definitely there are going to be either dropouts or not enough opportunities for making the life, making the learning happen in the context where they are there. So if we again analyze the data of students with disabilities, how they complete their education journey from class 1 to 12, then the graph before us illustrates that how it is going gradually, how it is declining gradually. Only 23% of the children with disabilities are able to complete education up to 12. And this tells a lot. And whatever steps Tarika ma'am has just mentioned in her introductory remarks, that what all we need to do as part of our inclusive strategy, that we are able to facilitate joyful learning and completion of their journey in the schools. So every dip in whites or every dip in the graph demands an intervention, whether it is in classroom, whether it is in curriculum adaptation, or whether it is in assessment policies. What it could be if the range is that wide, as madam said, that now we have 21 kinds of disabilities, and that also on a bigger spectrum, then no, we need to see these numbers. And when I show you these numbers, they are based on 2019-20, and these are the children who are in school. But I'm sure there are many children in the schools whom we don't know that they have certain specific learning difficulties, or there are many children who may be outside schools and who have these kind of disabilities and are waiting to join the schools. So this again requires an inclusive approach to our whole system of education. Then my next question is, what does it mean to be inclusive? And my list is not exhaustive, but since we are celebrating teachers, or I would say Shikshak Parv, so I have zeroed down on things which a teacher in classroom can ensure, and how a teacher can change the whole learning environment for children coming from these disadvantageous backgrounds. So as it is said here, what is an inclusive classroom? What does it mean to be an inclusive classroom? It means that all the children have a meaningful and conducive learning environment, regardless of their ability, their learning needs, and their contexts. And how a teacher can make it happen. So first thing is the attitude, the practice. The policy may be there, but who is going to implement this? It is at the ground zero. And ground zero is our classrooms, our schools. And who is going to make it happen? Our teachers. So if the teacher is oriented, trained, and have the attitude of giving that kind of environment to the children, then nurturing inclusive classrooms becomes a possibility or reality. The second thing which I thought which is important, whether even if the teacher has that attitude to get all the children into the classroom, but the environment has to be supportive, accessible. The children should be able to sit in the class, play in the school, participate in all activities. And once we are able to give that kind of environment that complements the efforts of teachers, and then the curriculum, what is taught, how it is taught, that covers the curriculum and pedagogy. And if we make it child-centric, if we address to the needs of the children, then these two together further adds to the efforts of teacher and environment. Then the diverse needs, whether it is coming from the disability context or whether it is coming from geographical remoteness and inaccessibility context. The teaching learning material, if it is child-centered, if it takes the child into the, keeps the child into the center, then it accelerates the path of learning. It facilitates the child to keep the pace with the class, to learn. So the whole idea of having all these components are how we can ensure that even children with various needs, diverse needs, with coming from different contexts, are able to learn, are able to participate. And the classroom environment, even if teacher and infrastructure and pedagogy is very supportive, but if the peers are not sensitive, if peers are not providing that support, then it remains incomplete. So it is a very critical part that we not only sensitize the student, the teachers, but we should also sensitize the peers, because they are the one who are going to make the child feel comfortable, make the child laugh with them, participate with them. And then the classroom practices and environment. Again, I would say that it is the ground zero. If the classroom environment with all kinds of interventions, it's such that the child with disability or child from a rural area or child from a minority or a scheduled tribe feels like coming to the school. He looks forward or she looks forward to come to the school. She looks forward to the learning. Then inclusive classroom, becomes a reality. So nurturing inclusive classroom is not something which has to come from many resources, but most of it comes from our practices and our attitude towards accepting all and adjusting to the needs of the child. So 3 fundamental questions: that whom, inclusion for whom, why to have inclusive classrooms, and how. So here, looking at the paucity of time, I'll just give few glimpses, and here I give credit to the team who is working all across the country, and these are the representations from them. And I have tried that all the photographs in this presentation comes from all parts of the country, and all the teachers, all the special educators, and all the childrens have a sense of being represented here. So these are the glimpses where teachers have really tried that they adjust to the needs of the children, and the whole class supports them, and the child is able to learn. How the accessibility in environment helps them in having a joyful experience in the school, and how a teacher with effective teaching learning material is able to facilitate the learning. So once it is done, once our inclusive classrooms are a reality, then what happens? And I would say wonder. And these are a few examples which again I have taken from all across the country. Manmoy Hira could have been a dropout, but now a proficient reader is able to write and is able to communicate because now is getting the required support, is getting environment which is needed for learning. Then Rekhadi Raju, with the challenge, could not walk earlier, but now not only is able to walk, but comes to school happily. Lipika Bora, with the help provided to her, now she is not only going to the school and doing well in academics, she is also singing. Ripshita Nag, unbelievable, not only is able to study, but also is able to actualize her potential in dance and also won many medals. Thauko Kunglin, with intellectual disabilities, but with the kind of support he received, not only is able to come to the school, but is also participating in various kinds of activities. And believe me, the list is endless. They can win the medals. And I know a Telangana girl, Karnataka girl from Karnataka with muscular dystrophy topping the exam. So it is not the disability or disadvantage, but it is the ability which comes which achieves, which does wonders when we provide support from our side, and nothing else than having a classroom which is inclusive, having a culture which practices inclusion, and having an environment which enables them to have their joyful learning. And that is the thing which brings them to the school and enjoy like anything. And why, and this is my last slide, and this is a call to all of us, and particularly to our teachers who are listening to this, then let's nurture inclusive classrooms. It doesn't take a big deal. It doesn't need so much of money. It doesn't need so much of resource. It just needs one step forward, that accepting that we can do it. We can make it happen. And why we need to make it happen? Because we are not making only inclusive classrooms. By making inclusive classrooms, we are paving a way forward to have an inclusive society. Just imagine that today the child who is accepting a child with disability in classroom will be able to accept a citizen with disability in the society. Today, a child with a disadvantageous background is able to flourish in our classroom, will be able to flourish and contribute in our society. So this is the point I would like to end with, that we all can make it happen. And I salute the efforts of all our teachers and special educators on this day, that you have made our country travel to this distance, but still miles to go. And I know all of us together doing the best in our own roles, we can really make it happen. Again, very happy Teachers' Day, and I'm really happy to be part of this webinar and to connect to you. And I look forward for more connections in the field to make equitable and inclusive society a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ritu. It was indeed heartening to get your perspective, in which you've touched upon the most critical aspects of this inclusivity that is required, the types of disabilities and the strategies that need to cover it, and the very crucial element of the joyful learning which needs to be there. And lastly, as I addended to, we need to just change the mindset and the culture of making the first step forward that the change must come. And once we think so, it will happen. सोच बदलेगी तो हमारा करने का ढंग और हमारा विचार से ही वो शुरुआत होगी. With this, I thank you once again. I now request Dr. Sudha Acharya to please join in. You know you have your 15 minutes slated. I must introduce you because Ritu also did not introduce herself. So I better do this one line of introduction that you are the principal of the ITL Public School. You are a special educator and also you've done your own respective subject of economics. You've achieved the highest level of a gold medalist that you are. You've been closely associated with the Ministry of Education in several important things. The one thing that I want to specifically mention here is that you are on CBSE's Committee on Inclusive Education, which gives you all the more reason for us to hear you very carefully over the next 15 minutes, and that you have contributed substantially to the CBSE's Manual on Inclusive Education. So goes without saying, with all of this, you've been the recipient of several awards, and we look forward to your to listening to you, and your time begins now. I've been told to keep it to the time limit. Over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind and generous words. And I feel privileged to be a part of this webinar today. And it's a great opportunity to showcase my best practices as a practitioner at the ground zero, as Ritu ma'am said, in the classroom, how we can work in an inclusive school and in an inclusive classroom. I'll start my presentation. We are talking about nurturing inclusive classroom. For me, the belief system is very, very important. It is based on human right approach. It's a basic human right. We are not doing any privilege by accepting children who are coming to us. And when a child feels valued, accepted, respected, and supported, then only inclusive classroom can be created. We are talking about nurturing inclusive class. When we know the nature of our children who are entrusted to us, then only we can nurture them. So what is the difference between basic traditional classroom and inclusive classroom? It is based on educational philosophy, instructional strategies, and resources, teaching learning material, how and when and where it is to be used to support the learners. So when I talk about student benefit, maybe a maximum learning achievement happens when the classroom is inclusive, not only for special needs children, but for everybody. So we can they develop their interpersonal skill, effective communication skill, self-esteem is very, very important here. So that is very much important. And if we want to create an inclusive classroom, then most important role is the role of a school leader. Then I'll come to the part of school teacher. So as a school leader, I must have my vision and mission in place, and the information has to be disseminated very clearly, maybe through website, through school almanac, through different events. All the stakeholders should know that here zero refusal policy is there. Every child is accepted unconditionally, irrespective of their geographical identity or gender identity, socio-cultural economic identity, or whether they have any impairment. For that, I need to do culture and climate building. So culture and climate building, for that, I have shown some slides here where we are sensitizing the whole school community. The whole ecosystem should be aware about inclusive education and the classroom. First of all, I must sensitize support staff who are working with the children, who help the children in the corridor, in the bus, on the playground, in the canteen. So we have to sensitize support staff. Obviously, teachers need to be empowered and equipped. When I say teachers need to be equipped, they have to be equipped with knowledge, right kind of attitude to appreciate diversity, and skill to use teaching learning devices, assistive devices, technology, wherever it is required. That is grade wise and functional level wise. So they should know how to use the teaching learning material available in their immediate environment. And most important, this is a new initiative which we have done, that is peer leaders in action. Students, we must invest on training on mediation, conflict resolution, or peer leaders, student educators who are in action, who are sensitizing and orienting their youngsters and addressing the psychosocial support. Here, a group of parents whose cultural, socio-cultural belief is something different. They believe that maybe we are cursed, something did wrong in our past life, that's why we have got a special needs children. So we need to first set the right kind of mindset. Then only when parents accept, then only they will start working on it. And in the school, the first step is early identification. When child approaches us 3+ or 4-year-old, mostly teacher is the sole accountable or responsible to identify is if there is any aberration. NEP 2020 is focusing on holistic progress card. That's a excellent tool where teacher can very easily identify, because continuously teacher is observing, and through screening by teacher using a checklist, and this checklist are available. The source is NCERT. We use this checklist. We through workshop and sensitization program and orientation program, we have given this checklist to each and every teacher of pre-primary, nursery teachers, and all the teachers, of course, in the school, so that very easily they can identify. Suppose say Down syndrome child who is coming to us, there are 32 symptoms. So through continuous observation, if the teacher finds, then we call the parents, grandparents, sit together, take input from the parents, and then the counselor and special educator of the school, they also observe student behavior, and then informal assessment by the special educator is done. And this is done by grade level assessment device. It is available to us. And otherwise, the special educator or counselor or the common teacher can refer for assessment. So there are paraprofessionals, psychologists, child is referred to them, and we have developed a system also how we refer them, what we have observed in the classroom. So when the child is going for assessment also, already we have given that in the format. It can be very easily developed. So most important thing is least restrictive environment, providing least restrictive environment. So if I talk to a barrier-free environment, we are talking on Sugamya Bharat, already Ritu ma'am spoke about it, Accessible India. So every school building, mostly we, if it is a multi-storied building, we have, this is my school picture only, we have ramp, railings, and lift also. There is a tactile path. Once you move into the school, you will see the school is very nicely displayed. All signages are in place. Child knows where is physics lab, where is canteen, where is playground, where is washroom. So we have given, even some of the students, they learn by sight words. So wherever toilet is written, they know that there is a washroom. So accordingly, we have displayed our school. These are not very, very expensive. Signage can be developed easily, and if we do not have lift or ramps, then the classrooms can be brought to the ground floor. So consulting and collaborating with all the stakeholders, we have to create individualized or customized education program. We must have our short-term goal, medium-term goal, and long-term goal for each and every child, because each child is unique. Each child has a special need, or his or her own way, own pace of learning. So we develop that IEP in consultation with everybody, not only teacher, all the subject teachers. In my school, we have a system that if in class 6, 5 sections are there, all class teachers, subject teachers, class rep, coordinator, counselor, even I am sitting also here, principal, special educator, we all sit down together. But IEP is never done without parents. So we call parents, so because parents are our partner, we even educate parents what they should expect from us, from the school. We are expecting from parents. Parents also should know their rights, that what should be available from, what support should be available from the school side. So we are all together creating this individualized education plan, what parents want from the, what is the parents' expectation. So in some cases, one parent said that I need that my child should drink water continuously. She has forgotten, blowing, drinking. So that was the immediate short-term goal. So we take every input possible from parents and all the stakeholders, then create an individualized education program. Now here I'm talking about high five learning strategy. This I really stress open, that is different ways. Like every child, mostly we divide that whether children learn visually, auditory or kinesthetic. So we must create teaching learning material which are either tactual or auditory or giving visual input or kinesthetic learning by doing. Children want to engage with the teaching learning material. So I'm showing a puppet show, visual and performing art, and theater. The boy in the middle has multiple disability, and how he's participating in theater. Even I can tell her he was stammering. So we gave him training in music, and now he can speak and doing all sorts of activities. I'll share a case study here. On the basketball ground, you can see a boy who is albino and rapid eye movement, progressively losing his eyesight, but how he's participating in all activities, storytelling, comic strip. So instructional practice has to be different. A teacher must know how to cater to the need of each individual. If a history teacher is teaching history, we can show maps, videos, even we can show a small video on Harappan civilization or Mohenjo-daro civilization, or show pictures. Or if we are teaching Bhakti and Sufi movement, we can bring in music. If we are teaching mathematics and physics, take the children to the basketball court. They will learn force, energy, angle, distance, diameter, height and distance, everything. So we can very well integrate it in our curriculum: sports, visual and performing arts, theater, even comic strip. Little bit I have shown here as a subject, my subject economics. I have taught in the class through comic strip the concept of opportunity cost, the concept of application of demand and supply. Demand and supply very beautifully in a story, Mr. Demand and Mrs. Supply wedding ceremony, and how we really save cost and all. So there are different ways, interesting ways how we can engage each and every learner in the class. Regarding tactual, it can be real object, or it can be even models. Suppose we are teaching geography, we can go to the class with a globe. If we are teaching digestive system, we can go with an apple. Let's eat an apple, and all of us are eating. Then we explain them the use of tongue, saliva, teeth, food pipe, small intestine, large intestine. We can show the model also. So various teaching learning appliances or devices which are available to us. It can be tactual, auditory, visual. All these things we can combine. And we should not think that this will only benefit special needs child. It will benefit all. So inclusive classroom is for all. So, and then when we are talking nurturing inclusive classroom, first thing is classroom physical environment. How we have created a welcoming environment for the child. Furniture should not be clustered. There should be space for movement. If you have low vision children, then either the door should be always closed or always open. The child should be seated in the front. If you have hearing impaired children, then at the front in the center maybe, but the child should be equally accessible to the teacher also. Teacher should be easily approach the child. So physical environment, little bit we take care. And then the teaching learning material, how we have organized that in the classroom. Maps and charts should be ethically displayed in the classroom, easy classroom to the ground floor also. So these are few accommodation. And so this is cooperative learning and peer tutoring. I have a system called body system. Now every child has a buddy if has a special need. All of us need have some special need, but every section there are some buddies. So buddies generally are very empathetic and respectful, and they have high EQ and SQ. Of course, emotionally they are very, very secure, and they are responsible. So this system really, a child who is intellectually impaired cannot take down note from the blackboard or something. We give a buddy to him. If the child cannot read, we give a child buddy who is a very good reader. So that's how they can complement each other. Collaborating with paraprofessional, here you can see speech therapy session is going on, occupational therapy, hand exercises, different kind of exercises are done in the class with the help of paraprofessional, and teachers should know when to use them. So 3 A's of inclusive classroom, all our teaching learning material should be available, affordable and accessible. If we don't have a gripper, then we can create our own gripper by clay or by rubber band. And all the teachers should be trained. I have tried that basic sign language. Now we have got Indian Sign Language. All the teachers, if they know sign language or know basic alphabet of Braille, then children feel belong to the class. Even you can see this slanting table or just black chart paper cut out so that the child can track the table. 3 table, 5 table I have shown. Magnifying glass with light. These are few devices which can be used in the classroom. Most important is sensory integration. So here you can see a sensory path which we have created on the corridor of the school, or learning textures. There are sand, there are water, there are cotton, there are scrubbers. So children are playing and learning. And similarly, we are there are symbol association and few activities I have tried to show you. And most important is roll up ICT. In 21st century, we have already Ritu ma'am said that there are a lot of audio books, videos are available. And here I have shown NVDA screen reader, Ginger app, Mindly app. You know, intellectually impaired children really get benefit from mind maps or concept map. It is very good for revision. Teacher can create this. And quiz, this is with voice over command. So in quiz, multiple choice question are given, and with voice over command, the question is read aloud, the options are read aloud, so the child is listening. This benefits all students. This is an app which is easily available. So this is a case study, just an photo essay. I have shown a boy which I have already shown. He is in class 11th now, and the boy aspires to be a pharmacist. And with progressive eyesight loss, still we have given him physics, chemistry, biology. You can see in biology and chemistry lab how he's assisted with buddies. These are multimodal assessment system. We have to be very, very flexible. The teacher has to be very, very flexible in an inclusive classroom. These are few assessment system, not only pen and paper test. You can see different subject also I have given. This can be used in the classroom. During COVID-19, our children were not in the classroom, so we provided them homebound program. See how we have scheduled their routine, right? In the morning with a prayer, with brain gymming, with yoga, all domains we have taken care, all development and achieving competency and developmental goals also. So liaising with other professionals, paraprofessionals, so that their therapy continues and there is no learning gap, and giving parents respite. In the evening, we clustered parents of the same disability, try to find out what are the behavioral pattern, how we can come in, how we can develop strategies. So during COVID-19, we have never stopped teaching learning practice. Instead, we have explored and experienced a new dimension. And this is vocational education. This is my last slide, vocational education and life skill, because basically our aim is to integrate them in the society, and they should productively contribute to the nation building, and they should be self-reliant. So we have industry interfacing. Children are in the Hotel Management Institute. In our school, we are producing 14 organic and herbal products. I have a Sanjeevani Vatika which I have shown. So these are all herbs grown here, indigenous products, and we have a well-developed internship program. And we have skill development promotion. We bring in potter, tie and dye, khadi clothes, paper filling, weaving bags, and we create a skill bazaar where we sell these products, and parents are our market. So no child feels helpless, that in future life they can do something, and independent living is mostly encouraged. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Acharya. I understand that you had to actually give the whole gamut of the field which is inclusive education, being a principal. You will see it from that point of view, as well as in the point of view that of a student, of a subject specific teaching, as well as as a special educator. I also thank you for referring to Accessible India campaign, which also Ritu did, and it makes my heart very glad, because
Tarika ma'am, just one line if I can add from NCERT side. I think Anupam ma'am is sitting here. We have developed developing guidelines for creating e-content for special needs children. This is also inaugurated by ministry. This is another feather.
Yes, it's a very, very important initiative which has been taken. And I was mentioning that Accessible India campaign that I didn't have to speak to, and both the speakers before me did. So thank you for that. It shows that it is reaching the corners where it is supposed to. So thank you. With that, I move on to our next speaker, Ms. Sumita Chavare. She is joining us from Pune, and she is in the field of consulting, counseling, and career guidance and development. And she is a special clinical psychologist. So I would request you to please speak for 10 minutes, because I do want to take on some questions which have been received on the MyGov portal. Sorry for having to curtail your time to 10 minutes. I request you for that. Over to you.
Okay. Good morning to one and all present here. Today, I, Sumita Chavare, will be talking about inclusive education at our school. So this is an overview of our presentation. So our journey of inclusive education has started in 2013 through the project of Dhruva Educational and Research Foundation in Pune, who supported us to implement inclusive education for children with disabilities in our school. At present, we have 15 students with disabilities from mild to moderate level of severity. And in this past 7 years of inclusive education, we have experienced that inclusive education is a teamwork of parents, teachers, principal, doctor, psychologists, remedial teachers, special educator, peer group, and school management. So we have been implementing these 10 steps inclusive education practices at our school, about which I'll be going through this presentation. So first step is the identification process. So identification is the very crucial process. So we conduct thorough assessment at 4 levels. So first is informal assessment, in which various activities are conducted, as you can see in this photographs, to assess the various skills and abilities of the students. This informal assessment is conducted by a counselor and remedial teacher or special educator. Then we provide observation checklist to the teachers. Then case history and observation by parents is also recorded. And we also refer students to standardized psychometric testing at RCA recognized centers. So we conduct educative programs for teachers. When we started inclusive education in 2013, first step what we did is to provide trainings to our whole teaching staff and non-teaching staff about the concept of inclusion, and also to train them about various types of disabilities, its nature, its symptoms, because teachers are the one who can encounter and face the disabilities in the classrooms, and also develop instructional strategies to accommodate the children with various disabilities. We have instructional strategies which are based on multisensory approach, that is considering the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile, as you can see in these photographs. And we use various types of puzzles, writing skills, audio-visual videos, then digital technology, and various types of activities in teaching learning process in our school, in classroom, as well as in therapy sessions. Then we conduct development of individualized reasonable accommodation and support plan, that is IRSP. We develop this plan in a coordination with teachers, all subject teachers, class teacher, parents, psychologists, remedial teachers, special educator. And the purpose of this planning is to determine the strategies to accommodate the child in school and classroom, determine the level of support the child requires, and that is educational support, therapeutic support, financial, transport, and for length the child requires the support, that is intermittent, less, or pervasive. So that is comes under this planning. So under the IRSP, we also conduct the therapy session, one-to-one therapy session. We have experienced that children with disability require one-to-one therapy sessions in which various skill sets are developed, like daily living skills, motor skills, then also other academic skills. These sessions are conducted by our counselor, special educator, and also our class teachers and subject teachers conduct remedial classes for these students. You can see the photographs of these sessions. Then we have this photo of this academic skills development, motor skills development in therapy sessions by using multisensory teaching tools. We also include communication skills training and social skills training in this therapy sessions. For that, we conduct pair session as well as group sessions. Here we have the multisensory teaching aids. As you can see, like using of flashcards, various types of logs, and other educational games. We use worksheets for academic skills And these worksheets are used for developing various types of skills. Like this is an example of the worksheet that we are using for the children with specific learning disability, dyslexia. So we, in the classroom as well as in the therapy session, we use these types of worksheets. Then counseling is the most important part of this process. We conduct counseling for children with disabilities to increase their confidence and motivation. We conduct counseling session for parents to explain them about the child's nature of disability, and most important, to accept them about the child's disability. And also peer group counseling session to sensitize them about the needs of children with special needs, and most important, to create the empathetic approach towards children with disability. So that is most important purpose of this whole sessions. So this is the photograph of the sensitization of children with disabilities. In morning assembly, we have conducted this so that the whole school get this sensitization. So classroom modification. So as per the child's disability level and learning needs, we conduct classroom modification. As everybody knows, we provide front desk to the children with hearing impairment, visual impairment, and also conduct other modifications like keeping enough space for movement, space for performing activities, etc. Curriculum modifications, in the school, when these special children come, we see that they need to learn. So for that, we conduct the curriculum modifications in which we shorten the syllabus and include only those points which are relevant for them to live the safe and independent life. We also alter the assignments of the students, and also we link the content with activities, stories, poems, etc. And we also link the subject specific content with other subjects. So we ensure that children with disabilities participate in all types of activities comes under curriculum. Next. Then exam modifications. So we modify the modes and structure of the assessments to accommodate the learning needs of the students. Here you can see in the photograph, we conduct the examination of children with special needs in different rooms so that we can give one-to-one supervision for these students. Also conduct oral exams. Also we provide some tools while solving the exams for these children with specific learning disability. As you can see, the boxes are provided so that they can read the question and find out the answer easily. We also alter the question paper of children with disabilities, and other CBSE recommended provisions like extra time, scribe, change of subject are also available for these students. Next. So here you can see the sample of alternate question paper, modified question paper. So this first is for EVS of like HI student, that is hearing impaired student. Second is a modified science paper for borderline intelligence students, and the another one is also for intellectually disabled student. That's a Hindi paper. So this is the sample papers. So most important part that we see that children with disabilities participate in all school activities, right from morning assembly till annual day, sports day, all the functions children with disabilities participate. Apart from participation in these school events, we also see that they get duties and responsibilities to perform various schoolwork, classwork. For example, collection of notebook, distribution of notebook, making softboard, in order to develop their vocational skills as well as their self-esteem. One of the student I would like to mention here, he was intellectually disabled, but he was interested in library work. So during his library period, he used to do a lot of library work, such as keeping the notebook, keeping the books at right place, arranging the newspapers, everything. So that helped to develop his vocational skills. So these are the photographs of the participation. This is one boy participated in assembly skit. He's with Down syndrome. Next. So yeah, next please. Yeah, so this entire skit was performed by children with disability in one of the school event. Next. So this is the sports event where all the children with disability participated and had a complete entire sports event with children with diverse needs, as you can see in these photographs. So they also participate in other art and craft related activities, as you can see, and also in annual school exhibition. As you can see, there is a peer buddy who is helping the child with disability to participate in this. Yeah. So next. So this is one student who with special need who has performed really well in class 12 CBSE board exam and has won the prize for distinguished academic performance in our annual day. So the success of performing this 10 steps model was evident on the development of our students. Here I will quickly go through the few case studies within our school. So this person with a specific learning disability in our school, so this child was diagnosed with SLD in class 6. And I would like to note here that the spreading awareness of SLD among teachers has played a key role in identification, as it is important. Early identification is key to inclusive education. So the training which we provided to our teachers has played an important role. Again, his IEP included the development of reading and writing skills through multisensory approach. We also provided him other classroom modification, exam modifications, and we have also discovered that the student was exceptionally well in music and sports. So we have provided him a lot of opportunities, and in class 12, we provided him a music subject instead of other academic subject. And the output of this, he showed tremendous improvement in self-esteem. He discovered talent in music. He passed class 12 board exams with good grades, that is secured 90% in music. Can we go further? So overall, I would like to summarize my presentation by saying that this whole success, like more than 25 students have studied in our school with children with disabilities, and we have observed very low dropout rate of children with disabilities as well as without disabilities. In this past 7 years of inclusive education practices, 7 students with disabilities have passed out class 10th and 12th CBSE board exams. They have completed the journey in the school, which is, we found it's a big achievement. And most important, they have found their own hidden talent, which has helped them to find out their career path. That is, they have found they are good in music, they are good in sports or computer and many more fields. So that's what we feel as our achievement. And the last very important thing is that these students have shown one step forward towards development in areas like daily living skills, social skills, self-esteem, etc. Even one step forward toward development for children with disability is a big achievement, that I would say. So I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that when it comes to implementing inclusive education, there is always a question of feasibility and practicability. But what we have experienced is, if every stakeholder, right from principal till teacher, everyone starts taking small steps, then it is a team journey which can really complete the goal of inclusive education. And as everybody says, small steps adds to the bigger goal and bigger success, which we are experiencing in our school. And as we believe that every child is important and no child should be left behind in education and development, which is also reflected in NEP 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chavre, for indeed a very comprehensive presentation on the efforts that your school has taken. And you've shown the way forward of how every school can also do it by taking small but right steps in the right direction and way forward. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. I would now move on to our last speaker for the day, again with a request to please restrict to 10 minutes because we're totally out of time. And giving the last word to the man, because he's been listening patiently to 4 women speakers before him. I am hand it over to Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who is a lecturer in the DEIT in Shimla in Himachal Pradesh. He joins us from there. He is must mention here that interestingly, while he has a PhD in education and an MA in 4 subjects, which is English, sociology, education, and psychology, but here he is sharing with us how and what he has done in the field of mathematics, wherein he has developed the first digital classroom for learning science and mathematics in Rudra, as well as the fact that he has started a maths lab on wheels, which he'll be discussing, I'm sure, in his presentation. And he has made several about 200 odd YouTube videos on making mathematics an interesting subject and not one which we get scared of. So we are waiting to listen to you after getting a perspective on the policy perspective, perspective from a principal, a perspective from school, which has taken initiative with the help of the clinical psychologist, which we just heard, and now a subject specific, and that too a subject as mathematics. Over to you, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much तो थैंक यू फॉर नाइस इंट्रोडक्शन मैम। और मेरा आज का टॉपिक है नर्चरिंग चिल्ड्रन विद डाइवर्स लर्निंग नीड्स इन इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम। मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन में प्रेजेंटेशन इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, इसका डेमोस्ट्रेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो मैं प्रेजेंटेशन अपनी शुरू करता हूं। ओवरव्यू आप देख ही रहे हैं। इसमें इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम, इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम कैसा क्लासरूम होता है। इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम वो ऐसा क्लासरूम होता है, हर एक क्लासरूम में हम देखते हैं कि हर एक लर्निंग नीड्स के बच्चे होते हैं और उसके अकॉर्डिंग हमने टीचिंग प्लान करना इट इज ए वेरी चैलेंजिंग था। और अगर वो गणित की बात हो तो वो प्रॉब्लम्स और ज्यादा बढ़ जाती है। इसके लिए हमने टीचिंग एड्स डेवलप की हैं जो लर्निंग व्हाइल यू प्ले एंड लर्निंग बाय डूइंग प्रिंसिपल पर काम करती हैं। कैसी लर्निंग एड्स हैं वो, ये हम देखेंगे। हमने बहुत सारे सर्वेज में ये ऑब्जर्व किया है कि बच्चे मैथमेटिक्स में डिफिकल्टी फेस करते हैं और मैथमेटिक्स के टीचर की स्कूल में भी अच्छी पोजीशन नहीं रहती। तो बच्चों को मैथमेटिक्स इंटरेस्टिंग बनाने के लिए हमने ये डाइट शिमला ने, राष्ट्रीय आविष्कार अभियान ने, हिमाचल प्रदेश में ये काम शुरू किया है, जिसका मैं आपको एक ओवरव्यू दे रहा हूँ। ये कैसी मैथमेटिक्स लैब है? ये टू प्ले विद टॉयज इज द बेसिक हैबिट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन। बच्चे खेल में पसंद करते हैं और ये काम हमने राष्ट्रीय आविष्कार अभियान डाइट शिमला से किया है और इन कोलैबोरेशन विद हिमाचल प्रदेश स्टेट रामानुजन मैथ्स क्लब, यूनिट ऑफ ऑल इंडिया रामानुजन मैथ्स क्लब। सो इस मैथमेटिक्स लैब में 75 मैथ्स इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स और एड्स हैं जो सारी टॉयज फॉर्म में हैं। हम उनको डिस्प्ले करेंगे और ये कुछ सैलिड फीचर्स आप इस मैथमेटिक्स लैब के देखेंगे, इन टूल्स के देखेंगे। ये टूल्स बहुत अट्रैक्टिव हैं, बच्चों को भाते हैं और ये ऐसे टूल्स हैं जिनसे लर्निंग किए बिना बच्चा रह नहीं सकता। मैं ऐसा मान ही नहीं सकता कि अगर हम इन टूल्स से टीचिंग करें और बच्चे को समझ ना आए। बच्चे को डेफिनेटली समझ आएगा। तो ये पहला टूल है। आप सोच रहे होंगे ऐसे कैसे टूल हैं जिनसे बच्चा सीख ही जाएगा। डाइवर्स लर्निंग नीड्स का बच्चा, स्लो लर्नर बच्चा, लर्निंग डिसेबल बच्चा, तो ये है पहला टूल, मेक नंबर्स व्हाइल यू प्ले। तो हम इससे क्या क्या करते हैं ये आप स्क्रीन में डिस्प्ले कर रहे हैं। ड्यू टू पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ टाइम मैं इसको एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पा रहा हूं, लेकिन
नहीं, आप प्लीज एक्सप्लेन करें। डॉक्टर संजीव कुमार प्लीज एक्सप्लेन, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, आप एक्सप्लेन करें प्लीज।
थैंक यू मैम, मैं डेमोस्ट्रेशन में इसको जरूर एक्सप्लेन करूंगा। नेक्स्ट टूल है मैथमेटिक्स टेबल और ये हमने 1 to 10 के लिए बनाया है, 1 to 20 के लिए भी बनाया है, लेकिन वो थोड़ा बड़ा है इसलिए हमने 1 to 10 पे ही फोकस किया है। ये ऐसा मैथमेटिक्स टेबल है जिसमें हमारे साइकोलॉजिस्ट ऐसा कहते हैं कि अगर बच्चे को 10 तक पहाड़े आ जाएं तो बच्चे को नेक्स्ट भी पहाड़े आ जाते हैं और उनको मल्टीप्लाई करना इजी हो जाता है। तो इस मल्टीप्लिकेशन टेबल में बच्चे एक्सपेरिमेंट करके 2 नंबर को मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं और धीरे धीरे वो पहाड़े भी सीख जाते हैं। इसके बाद नेक्स्ट है, जब बच्चे संख्याओं से खेलना शुरू करते हैं तो बड़ी संख्या कौन सी है, छोटी संख्या कौन सी है, इसको हम अरेंज कैसे करते हैं, इसको आरोही क्रम में कैसे अरेंज करते हैं, अवरोही में कैसे अरेंज करते हैं, मिसिंग नंबर्स में हम कैसे ढूंढते हैं, ये सारी एक्टिविटीज हम इस टूल से बताते। नेक्स्ट टूल है हमारा एडिशन एंड सब्ट्रैक्शन। हमने नैस में भी ये पाया है और स्टेट लेवल अचीवमेंट सर्वेज में भी पाया है। हिमाचल प्रदेश समग्र शिक्षा ने असेसमेंट डैशबोर्ड डेवलप किया है, उसमें हमने ये क्रॉस चेक किया है कि बच्चे, हम ये देखते हैं कि 8वीं तक के बच्चों को भी 2 डिजिट का सम नहीं आता। हम यूजुअली अखबारों में ये पढ़ते रहते हैं। उसको आसान बनाने के लिए हमने ये कुछ एक्टिविटीज डेवलप की हैं जिनको मैं डेमोस्ट्रेट करूंगा। नेक्स्ट, ये भी एडिशन एंड सब्ट्रैक्शन के लिए है। ये उन बच्चों के लिए है जो एल्गोरिथम नहीं जानते, प्लस माइनस का कैसे करना भूल जाते हैं बच्चे, बहुत टफ लगता है, ये उनके लिए मैं डेमोस्ट्रेट करूंगा। ये उसके लिए विंडो बोर्ड हमने डिजाइन किया है। नेक्स्ट है घड़ी में टाइम देखना, एनालॉग वॉच देखना। ये बच्चों को 10वीं तक के बच्चों को कई बार इसका पता नहीं लगता और हमारे पास अगर स्लो लर्नर बच्चे हैं, लर्निंग डिसेबल बच्चे हैं, तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स और बढ़ जाती हैं। तो इस वॉच के थ्रू हम ना केवल बच्चों को घड़ी में टाइम देखना सिखाते हैं, बल्कि हम सर्कल पढ़ा देते हैं, हम रोटेशन पढ़ा देते हैं, रेवोल्यूशंस पढ़ा देते हैं। ये सारी चीजें कैसे रिवॉल्व होता है, कैसे सुइयां घूमती हैं, कितना पार्ट घूमती हैं, ये सारा हम इस इंस्ट्रूमेंट से करते हैं। नेक्स्ट है मैग्नेटिक स्टिक्स। इनके बारे में मैं आपको कुछ नहीं बताऊंगा, केवल इतना बता रहा हूं अभी कि सर्कल के अलावा जो 2D शेप्स हैं, हर एक शेप की प्रॉपर्टी आप इन मैजिक स्टिक से पढ़ा सकते हैं। ये एक जादू है, और ये जादू मैं तभी बताऊंगा, इसके लिए मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन को मुझे पे करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज मैं इस जादू को नहीं बताऊंगा। और वो पे क्या करना पड़ेगा? वो पे करना पड़ेगा मैम टाइम। अगर टाइम नहीं तो मैं इस जादू को नहीं दिखाऊंगा। नेक्स्ट है इलेक्ट्रोमेंटल मैथ्स। ये तो हमने बच्चों को सिखा दिया, बेसिक सिखा दिया, लेकिन जब बच्चा घर में चला जाता है उसको अपनी रियल लाइफ में भी तो गणित यूज करना है, उसको हमने सिखाना है कैसे यूज करना। उसके लिए हमने ये इलेक्ट्रोमेंटल मैथ्स टीचिंग एड डेवलप की है। ये मेंटल मैथ्स मतलब माइंड से ही बच्चे करेंगे इसको, और एकदम फास्ट करेंगे। और हमने ट्राइड एंड टेस्ट किया है, बच्चों ने ये करके दिखाया है, और इसको हम गेम प्लान से करते हैं। ये भी मैं आपको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करके बताऊंगा। ये भी एक जादू है, ये जादू भी अभी आपको तभी मैं दिखा पाऊंगा अगर मेरे को मैम अलाउ करेगा। तो इसमें हमने 20 शीट्स हैं, और 20 लर्निंग आउटकम्स को ये एक ही एड अचीव कर रहे हैं। और ये ऐसी लर्निंग एड है, इट मोटिवेट्स द चाइल्ड फॉर प्रैक्टिस मोर एंड मोर क्वेश्चंस। बच्चे थकते ही नहीं है, करते ही रहते हैं, इतना मजा उनको आता है। तो मैम ये डाइट शिमला की ये मैथ्स लैब ऑन व्हील है, जिसको हमने पहले अपने स्कूल में एस्टैब्लिश किया था, और 2.5 ईयर से मैं डाइट शिमला में हूं, तो हमने इसको अब डाइट शिमला में एस्टैब्लिश किया है। हम स्कूल टू स्कूल विजिट करते हैं, हम विलेज टू विलेज भी विजिट करते हैं, और इसका डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन करते हैं टीचर्स के लिए, बच्चों के लिए, और उनके पेरेंट्स के लिए भी, ताकि पेरेंट्स के माइंड में जो फोबिया है कि मेरा बच्चा तो मैथ में पास हो ही नहीं सकता, वो भी हम इसको रिमूव कर पाए। थैंक यू वेरी मच। दिस इज all about this slide, and now it is the important part of demonstration now. सबसे पहले आती है जब मैंने छठी से गणित पढ़ाना शुरू किया, तो मैंने ये देखा कि बहुत सारे टीचर जब हम ट्रेनिंग में जाते थे ये बोलते थे कि बच्चों को तो गिनती नहीं आती, बच्चों को तो 1 डिजिट प्लेस 9 तक गिनती नहीं आती, तो हम क्या करेंगे। इसके लिए हमने इस इंस्ट्रूमेंट को डिजाइन किया है। ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, आप देख पा रहे हैं। एवरी टाइम बच्चे खेलते हैं इससे ऐसे, और एवरी टाइम यू फाइंड न्यू नंबर, और ये इकाई से लेके करोड़ तक आप संख्या बना सकते हैं। तो पहले हम इकाई में फोकस करते हैं, फिर दहाई में, और एक एक स्थान हम आगे बढ़ते चले जाते हैं। हमने ऐसे भी मैथमेटिक्स में कुछ प्रश्न करवाने हो तो हम बोलते हैं बच्चे को, चलो भाई बच्चे घुमाओ और एक संख्या बताओ। तो फटाफट जो बच्चे संख्या आती है उसको बच्चे लड़ते हैं, मेरे को दो सर, मेरे को दो, मैं संख्या बताऊंगा। हमें यही तो चाहिए। जो बच्चे ऐसा सोचते हैं कि गणित नहीं पढ़ना, दादा हमारे लिए खुशी की बात क्या हो सकती है। नेक्स्ट ये है, देखिए वो विंडो बोर्ड, ये देख पा रहे होंगे आप। इससे हम गणित सिखाते हैं। आइए मैं आपको बताता हूँ कैसे सिखाते हैं। ये हमारे पास बहुत सारे नंबर हैं, हम यहाँ से बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि आओ हम यहाँ से नंबर चूज करें। हम ऐसे इसको फैला देते हैं, यहां से नंबर चूज करेंगे। ये देखिए बहुत सारे नंबर्स हैं, बच्चे ने नंबर चूज कर लिया, यहाँ 3 लगा लिया, यहाँ उसने 8 लगा लिया। मैं थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम ले रहा हूं। यहाँ हमने 7 लगा लिया, और यहाँ 5 लगा लिया। अब बच्चे करेंगे। अब मेन है कि हासिल कैरी वाले क्वेश्चन कैसे करेंगे। तो ये जो हमारा ऊपर वाला हिस्सा है ये केवल कैरी के लिए हमने रखा है, हम बच्चों को समझाते हैं। और हम बच्चों को ये समझाते हैं कि आपने केवल इकाई के अंक में जो आएगा वो ही नीचे लिखना है, और जो दहाई आएगी वो हमेशा यही लिखनी है। तो बच्चे जब इसको ऐड करते हैं 3 + 8, अब कुछ एक टीचर ऐसे बोलेंगे कि जिन बच्चों को जोड़ ही नहीं करना आता वो कैसे इसको ऐड करेंगे। तो इसके लिए हमारे पास बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं। ये देखिए स्टिक्स हैं, हम इस प्रकार की स्टिक्स बच्चों को दे देते हैं। 3 स्टिक्स लो, फिर 8 स्टिक्स लो, इनको मिलाओ और इनको गिनो। अगर बच्चा इससे बोर हो जाए, क्योंकि ऐसे बच्चे बोर हो जाते हैं बहुत जल्दी एक प्रकार के टूल से, तो हमारे पास ये भी बहुत सारी लर्निंग एड्स हैं। ये देख पा रहे हैं आप, हम इस प्रकार के ऑब्जेक्ट बच्चों को देते हैं कि ये स्टार गिनो, ये आप वर्ग गिनो, ये गोला, ये आप सर्कल गिनो, ये कनेक्टर्स हैं इनको गिनो। ये सारे हमारे पास ऐसे में रहते हैं। ये तो हमने बच्चों ने कुछ बनाया है, ये आपको बता रहा हूँ। इस प्रकार के कनेक्टर, इनको भी हम गिना देते हैं कि इनको गिनो आप। इसके अलावा हमारे पास आप ये देख रहे हैं बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं, इनको गिन के बच्चे करते हैं। फिर जब बच्चा 3 और 8 करके 11 लिखता है तो ऐसे लिख देता है बच्चा 11, ये है, ये 11 लिख दिया। तो हम बोलते हैं इकाई को यहाँ रखना और दहाई को ऊपर ले जा, फिर इसको फिर ऐड करो, फिर बच्चा उसी प्रोसेस से ऐड करता है और यहाँ आ गया हमारा सम 13। तो 13 सम के लिए हमारे पास बच्चा फिर कैसे कर देता है, बच्चा ऐसे कर देता है, ये लिख दिया 3 और ये लिख दिया 1, पर हम इसको बोलते हैं कि यहाँ नहीं लिखना, एक हमने कहा लिखना यहाँ, तो ये कैरी है और ये एक ही फॉरवर्ड होके नीचे यहाँ आ जाए, तो ये हमारा आंसर। ऐसे बच्चे स्वयं करके सीखते हैं, सबट्रैक्शन भी ऐसे सीख लेते हैं और हमने ये अपने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स में ये पाया है कि बच्चों ने डेफिनेटली इसको सीखा है। उसके बाद जब बच्चे इससे सीख लेते हैं तो हम सीधा बोल देते हैं बच्चों को ये 6 है, ये 4 है और बताओ इसका जोड़ कितना हुआ। फिर इसके अलावा और फास्ट करने के लिए हम बच्चों को जादू सिखाते हैं, वो जादू मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा। नेक्स्ट है, ये है वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट हमारे पास जिससे हम बच्चों को आरोही और अवरोही संख्या, हम ऐसे बच्चों को आरोही अवरोही बताते हैं। ये देखिए, ये मैंने कुछ संख्याएं ले ली, ये कुछ संख्याएं हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं लो भाई ये संख्याएं हैं, अब इनको आपने आरोही क्रम में अव्यवस्थित करना है। आरोही क्रम की परिभाषा और कॉन्सेप्ट हम उनको समझाते हैं। हम बोलते हैं इसमें सबसे बड़ा नंबर 9 है और सबसे छोटा 1 है, अब आपने इसके बीच में नंबर अरेंज करने हैं। तो बच्चे करते हैं, बच्चे देखते हैं कि 1 के बाद अब कौन सा नंबर आता है, तब आएगा इसमें जो नंबर 3 है वही आएगा, नेक्स्ट कौन आएगा 4 आएगा, नेक्स्ट कौन आएगा 6 आएगा। तो बच्चे ऐसे करके देखते हैं, ऐसे असेंडिंग ऑर्डर और ऐसे ही डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर, हम दोनों का भी एल्गोरिथम उनको बना के इसमें सिखाते हैं और बच्चे बड़े आसानी से सीखते हैं। नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, हमारे सर्वेज में ये पाया गया है कि बच्चे यूजुअली नंबर को एक्सपेंड करना भी सीखते हैं। 8वीं के बच्चे को भी एक्सपेंशन नहीं आती, जैसे ये नंबर आप देख रहे होंगे, ये है देखिए 6427, ये आप देख रहे होंगे। फिर मैंने बच्चे से पूछा कि बच्चे ये बताओ ये कितना है, बच्चे ने बोला 7। फिर पूछा ये कितना है, बच्चे ने बोला 2। फिर पूछा ये कितना है, ये 4 है और ये 6। मैंने मना किया, बिल्कुल सही नहीं बताया, केवल ये लास्ट वाला ठीक बोला 7। बच्चे सोचते हैं कि सर को आज क्या हो गया, सर 6 को भी 6 नहीं बोल रहे हैं। मैं बोल रहा हूँ बच्चे ये 6 नहीं है, आओ हम देखें ये क्या है। अब इसको हम एक्सप्लोर करके दिखाते हैं आपको। आइए कैसे बच्चे एक्सप्लोर करते हैं। ये निकाल दिया मैंने, ये क्या बन गया 7। उसके बाद ये क्या है, देखो 7 के नीचे क्या आया था 20, इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा था ये 2 नहीं था, ये 20 था। ये प्लेस वैल्यू और फेस वैल्यू का फर्क है। उसके बाद ये 4 नहीं था, देखो ये तो 400 है, और ये 6 नहीं था, इट इज 6000। बच्चे समझते हैं कि संख्या को हम कैसे पढ़ते हैं, कैसे ये संख्याएं बनती हैं। फिर हम ऐसे एक्सपेंड करके बता देते हैं, बोलते हैं अब तुम लोग खुद संख्याएं बनाओ। अब आप इसमें देख रहे होंगे ये इसमें एक ट्रायंगुलर शेप है, हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं इससे टिप मिलाना है। ये देखिए ये टिप है, इससे हम इस टिप को मिलाएंगे, इससे हम इस टिप को मिलाएंगे और इससे इस टिप को मिला देंगे। ये देखिए सारी टिप्स हमारे पास मिल चुकी है। और जब इसको पलट के आप देखेंगे तो इसके अलावा बच्चे इससे सम करना भी सीखते हैं। जब इस प्रकार के नंबर जो हो हमारे पास अलग अलग प्लेस वैल्यू के, तो बच्चे यूजुअली ऐसे प्रश्न कर देते हैं। तो हम बच्चों को ऐसे सिखाते हैं ऐड करना। ये देखिए ऐसे ऐड करना सिखाते हैं। ये देखिए 6000 फिर 400 है तो 100 प्लेस से चलेगा, उसके बाद 10th प्लेस है तो 10th प्लेस से चलेगा, जब 1th प्लेस आएगा तो 1th प्लेस से। जब इसको ऐड करोगे तो आप संख्या को प्राप्त करोगे। और इस प्रकार से हमारे पास ये बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं ये, और इससे हम 9999 तक संख्याओं को बनाना और जोड़ करना और उनका एक्सपेंडेड फॉर्म बनाना सिखा दें, और बच्चे खुद करते हैं। हमने तो एक ही बार करना, उसके बाद बच्चों में इतनी क्यूरियोसिटी आ जाती है कि बच्चे खुद इसको करते हैं। नेक्स्ट है घड़ी, ये है घड़ी, ये देखिए दिस इज वॉच, और अभी इसमें देख रहे हैं आप कुछ टाइम बना है। हम बच्चों को टाइम देखना सिखाते हैं कि कैसे। अब देखो मैंने यहाँ लिख दिया 12:30 आपको बनाने हैं। बच्चे सोचते हैं 12, अब देखो तो बच्चे अपने आप करके हम उनको प्रैक्टिस करवाते हैं। देखिए ये 12 बज गए, और जब हम 12:30 बनाएंगे तो ये वाली सुई भी आधा चल जाएगी, क्योंकि इसने आधा डिस्टेंस कवर कर लिया तो ये भी आधा डिस्टेंस कवर करेगी। तो इस प्रकार बच्चे खुद टाइम बनाना सीखते हैं। इसके अलावा हम सर्कल के पार्ट्स इससे सिखा देते हैं। हम बच्चों को एनालॉग वॉच से डिजिटल वॉच, डिजिटल वॉच से एनालॉग वॉच, सब कुछ करना इससे सिखा देते हैं। नेक्स्ट है ये जो मैंने आपको कुछ स्टिक्स बताई थी, इन स्टिक्स से ये देखिए इस प्रकार की शेप बच्चे बना देते हैं, और हम इनको बोलते हैं कि ये क्या है, कौन सी भुजाएं बराबर हैं, कौन से कोण बराबर हैं, कितने डिग्री के कोण बन रहे हैं, सब बच्चे अपने आप करते हैं, एक बार उनको बताने की जरूरत। नेक्स्ट है ये है वो हमारा मल्टीप्लिकेशन। अब आता है जोड़ घटाना, हमने सीख लिया, अब है गुणा करना। कैसे गुणा करेंगे, तो हम कैसे सिखाते हैं बच्चों को गुणा करना। ये देखिए इसमें आप रबड़ बैंड देख रहे होंगे, ये 7 पे मैंने लगाया है, तो हमने 7 को 8 से गुणा करना है। हम दोनों रबड़ को इस प्रकार लगा देंगे 7 और 8, और जहां ये कोइंसाइड करता है ये इनका मल्टीप्लिकेशन है 56। ऐसे बच्चे खुद करके देखते हैं। अब बच्चे चाह रहे हैं कि हमने 8 3 जा देखना, 8 3 जा कितना होता है 24। ये देखिए 24 पे रबड़ आ गया तो 24। ऐसे ही बच्चे एक्सपेरिमेंट करके खेल खेल के कुछ सीखते हैं। फिर हम बच्चों को रबड़ हटा देते हैं। जब बच्चे सीखना कर देते हैं शुरू, हम रबड़ को हटा देते हैं, बोलते हैं अब इसकी कोई आवश्यकता नहीं। अब तुम ये बताओ 5 गुना 9 कितने होंगे, तो 5 की लाइन में बच्चे देखते हैं और फिर 9 की लाइन में, जहां दोनों लाइनें मिलती हैं वहां 45 एकदम सीख जाते हैं। और ये कोई कॉस्टली एड नहीं है, एवरी टीचर कैन डिजाइन दिस एट होम, लो कॉस्ट की एड। नेक्स्ट है अब हमारा जादू। अब हमारा जादू है, ये है मैजिक स्टिक्स, ये देख पा रहे हैं आप, ये है वो स्टिक्स, और ये 1 2 3 4 5 स्टिक्स नहीं है, इट इज 20 स्टिक्स। ये आप देख पा रहे होंगे, इसमें मैग्नेट लगा है, ये देखिए दोनों तरफ मैग्नेट लगा है और ये चिपक जाती हैं ऐसे। फिर हम बच्चों को ज्योमेट्री से कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, हम बोलते हैं बच्चों को देखो ये एक लाइन सेगमेंट है, ये दूसरा लाइन सेगमेंट है, लाइन सेगमेंट का कॉन्सेप्ट भी दे दिया। अब हम बच्चों को बताएंगे देखो दोनों लाइन सेगमेंट मिल गए आपस में तो क्या बन गया, एंगल बन गया। ये एंगल देखो, ये एंगल देखो कुछ कम हो रहा है कुछ ज्यादा हो रहा है। अब हम एंगल की प्रॉपर्टी बच्चों को सिखाते हैं। कैसे सिखाते हैं, हम बताते हैं देखो कितने डिग्री का एंगल बना, बच्चे बोलते हैं, हम बच्चों को सिखाते हैं ये है 90 डिग्री एंगल की शेप है। और जब ये कम होता रहता है कम होता रहता है तो इस प्रकार के एंगल को क्या बोलते हैं, इसको बोलते हैं हम न्यून कोण। जब ये एंगल 90 से फिर बढ़ गया इसको क्या बोलेंगे, ये है अधिक कोण। अगर हमारा एंगल ये ऐसे आ गया फिर इसको क्या बोलेंगे, इसको बोलेंगे हम ऋजु कोण। फिर ये अगर नीचे को चला गया इसको क्या बोलेंगे, इसको बोलेंगे प्रतिवर्ती कोण, रिफ्लेक्स एंगल। और अगर ये फिर यहाँ आ गया और जुड़ गया इसको क्या बोलेंगे, तो देखिए आपने खेल खेल में ही बच्चों को ऐसे ही सिखाया, बच्चे 2-4 बार प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, मैं नहीं मानता बच्चों को भूल जाएगा, भूलेगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि बच्चे इसको करते कर रहे हैं, प्ले करके कर रहे हैं। फिर उसके बाद ये एंगल का कॉन्सेप्ट आ गया। फिर मैंने बोला अगर इसमें हम इस स्टिक को भी चिपका दें तो ये क्या बन गया, ये ट्राइंगल बन गई। फिर हम ट्राइंगल की प्रॉपर्टी बताते हैं, ये देखिए ये भुजाएं हैं, ये कोण है और ये शीर्ष है। तो त्रिभुज में देखिए 3 शीर्ष हैं, 3 ही भुजाएं हैं, 3 ही कोण है। फिर हम ट्राइंगल के प्रकार बता देते हैं। देखिए इसमें सभी भुजाएं बराबर हैं तो भुजाओं के आधार पर प्रकार देख लेते हैं। सभी भुजाएं बराबर हैं तो ये है समबाहु त्रिभुज, इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल। अगर हमने एक भुजा को निकाल लिया और उसके स्थान पर हमने दूसरी भुजा को लगा दिया, ये लगा दी, अब देखिए 2 भुजाएं बराबर हो गई और तीसरी तो बड़ी है, तो ये बन गई हमारी समद्विबाहु त्रिभुज। अब इस त्रिभुज में हमने एक और भुजा को निकाल दिया और इसमें हमने एक और भुजा को जोड़ दिया, ये जोड़ दिया। अब इसकी कोई भी भुजा बराबर नहीं है, अलग अलग रंग की भुजा है तो कोई भुजा बराबर नहीं है, तो ये बन गई विषमबाहु त्रिभुज। फिर हम कोणों के आधार पर त्रिभुज पढ़ाते हैं। देखिए बच्चों ऐसे हम उनको पढ़ाते हैं कि अगर इसके बाद हम इससे चतुर्भुज की प्रॉपर्टीज, पैरेललोग्राम की प्रॉपर्टीज, स्क्वायर की प्रॉपर्टीज, रेक्टेंगल की प्रॉपर्टीज, हर एक प्रॉपर्टी हम बच्चों को दिखा देते हैं। फिर नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास, ये लास्ट डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन मैं आपके पास कर रहा हूं, ये है हमारा इलेक्ट्रोमेंटल मैथ्स। अब इसमें हमने, हमारे पास 20 शीट्स हैं, हमारे पास अभी एक सक्सेसर की शीट है और इसमें दोनों और शीट्स हैं। जैसे इसमें आप देख रहे हैं, इसमें है टेंस एंड यूनिट्स कि कितनी इकाइयां और कितनी दहाइयां। अगर हमने यहां रख दिया 7 टेंस और 4 यूनिट मिले तो कौन सी संख्या बनती है, तो बच्चे इसको हिट एंड ट्रायल करते हैं, हिट एंड ट्रायल करते हैं, लेकिन बल्ब वही ग्लो करेगा। ये देखिए बल्ब ग्लो कर रहा है, जब 74 इसका राइट आंसर आएगा तो बल्ब ग्लो करेगा। ऐसे हम बच्चों को सिखाते हैं। फिर देखिए ये है 101, इसका सक्सेसर क्या होता है, नेक्स्ट, इसकी नेक्स्ट वाली संख्या। बच्चे फटाफट इसको लगाना शुरू करते हैं, गेम चल रही है, बच्चे करते हैं और जब राइट आएगा तो बल्ब ग्लो कर जाएगा और बच्चों का मुंह, चेहरा भी मुस्कान से खिल जाएगा कि आई हैव फाउंड राइट आंसर। तो इस प्रकार की हमने ये 20 शीट्स जो हैं वो हमने अलग अलग बनाई है, जैसे छोटी बड़ी संख्याएं बताना, भाग करना, गुणा करना, जोड़ करना, सिंगल डिजिट का, 2 डिजिट का, 3 डिजिट का, इस प्रकार बहुत सारे 20 कॉन्सेप्ट हम इस विंडो बोर्ड से कर लेते हैं, इस मेंटल मैथ से कर लेते हैं। एक बार मैं आपको अपनी पूरी लैब का ये ओवरव्यू भी दिखा रहा हूं। ये देखिए राष्ट्रीय आविष्कार अभियान, डाइट शिमला, और इस प्रकार हम इसको ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। ये मैथमेटिशियंस, हम मैथमेटिशियंस के बारे में भी बच्चों को बताते हैं अपने सेशन में, जब भी हम सेशन ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। तो मैम इस प्रकार ये ऐसे, एक छोटा सा मैं आपको और दिखाना चाह रहा हूं, ये है एक, बच्चों को पता नहीं लगता, जैसे हायर क्लासेज है, ये एज जो है हमारी पहली क्लास से 10वीं क्लास तक हम इससे कर सकते हैं। तो ये देखिए ये सिलेंडर है और ये कोन है। हमें पता है कि एक सिलेंडर में 3 कोन होते हैं और कोन का वॉल्यूम जो है वो सिलेंडर का 1/3 होता है। पर बच्चों को कैसे सिखाएं, क्योंकि तो स्पेशल बच्चा है, वो हमारी बात पे विश्वास नहीं करेगा, उसको हमने कैसे सिखाना, करके सिखाना। तो ये इसमें देखिए फिट हो जाता है पूरा, ये देखिए फिट हो गया। अब हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं इसमें पानी भरो, बच्चे पानी भरते हैं, ये रेत भरते हैं, जब वो 3 कप इसमें डालेंगे तो अपने आप ये भर जाएगा। तो बच्चों को पता चल जाएगा कि इसका वॉल्यूम जो है वो 3 टाइम्स है यहाँ, और इसका वॉल्यूम जो है वो 1/3 है, इसके 1/3 है। तो बच्चे एकदम से पता लग जाता है और बच्चे इसको याद करते हैं। 10वीं तक क्लास तक के बच्चे, उनको भूलता ही नहीं है मैथमेटिक्स। तो इस प्रकार में हम मैथमेटिक्स से, लर्निंग बाय डूइंग से डाइट शिमला में, डिस्ट्रिक्ट शिमला में ये काम कर रहे हैं और धीरे धीरे हम इसको दूसरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में भी एक्सपेंड कर रहे हैं। मैं स्वयं इसको अपनी कार में लेके जाता हूं और स्कूल टू स्कूल इसको एक्सपेंड करता हूं। मैं नेक्स्ट में आपसे इतनी गुजारिश कर रहा हूं कि नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर आप मेरे को कभी चांस देंगे तो मैं आपको बच्चों के साथ ही डेमो करवाऊंगा। बच्चे सिलेक्ट करेंगे, बच्चे खुद देखेंगे, लेकिन मैम एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि ये 10 और 15 मिनट्स नहीं चाहिए, एटलीस्ट 1 और 2 आवर्स चाहिए, ताकि मजा भी आए। जैसे मैं ये देख पा रहा हूं कि आप सबको मजा तो आ रहा है, लेकिन ये जो घड़ी की सुई है ये हमें रोक रही है। तो मैम जब गणित सीखना है तो कोई घड़ी की सुई नहीं रोके हमें, हम ऐसे गणित सीखना चाहते हैं। और मैं अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन का एंड इसी से कर सकता हूं कि अगर आप समझने को तैयार हो जाएं, मैम अगर आप समझने को तैयार हो जाएं तो आपको गणित से प्यार हो जाए, तो दीप से दीप जलाएंगे और घर घर जाकर गणित पढ़ाएंगे, खूब खेलेंगे, सीखेंगे और मौज मनाएंगे। जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय हिमाचल। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
वेरी नाइस डॉक्टर संजीव कुमार। आई थिंक ये जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन एंड लर्निंग ने ये जो वेबिनार्स रखे हैं और ये जो इतना लंबा 7 से लेके 17 दिन का इन्होंने जो एक शिक्षक पर्व रखा है, ये इसीलिए बिकॉज आप जैसे शिक्षक जो इतना एफर्ट कर रहे हैं और इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, चाहे आप घड़ी उनको सिखा रहे हैं कैसे चलानी है, लेकिन उस घड़ी पे ध्यान ना रखते हुए आप अपना समय भी लगा रहे हैं और बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए आगे तक अग्रसर हो रहे हैं। तो कोटि कोटि प्रणाम। और ये वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव एंड आई एम श्योर जितने भी शिक्षक आज जुड़े हुए हैं, एक बार फिर से हैप्पी टीचर्स डे एंड हैप्पी टीचर्स वीक एंड हैप्पी टीचर्स मंथ। और ये शिक्षक पर्व का सही जो सिलेक्शन इन्होंने आपका किया है वो दर्शाता है कि किस तरह से हमें इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन और इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम की तरफ इसी किस्म की भावना ही आगे ले जाएगी, इसी तरह का जज्बा और इसी तरह की प्रोएक्टिवनेस हमें आगे ले जाएगी. सो थैंक यू सो मच to you and to all the teachers who've joined in today and all the principals. So with this, I will now move over to the last section, which is a question answer session. ये प्रश्न जो हैं ये MyGov पे मंगाए गए थे, तो मैं कुछ समय को देखते हुए मैं एक या दो प्रश्न यहाँ लेती हूँ. और जो पहला प्रश्न है वो मैं ऋतु सेन को एज वेल एज जो हमारी प्रिंसिपल थी मिस आचार्य, उनको मैं डायरेक्ट करती हूँ. I am reading the question out. What are the plans for developing regular teachers' capacity to develop and nurture inclusive classrooms? How will inclusive education resource centers be strengthened to provide with inclusive pedagogy support teachers and children? These centers are developed under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and provide with therapeutic support. So essentially, I know most of it has been covered, but your thoughts on your views on this question which has come on the platform for developing strategies for teachers, enhancing the teachers' capability to develop and nurture inclusive classrooms. Over to you.
समग्र शिक्षा के जो सारे कंपोनेंट्स हैं इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन के, टीचर डेवलपमेंट के, उन सारे कंपोनेंट्स में इनको बहुत अच्छे से कवर किया गया है. जो फर्क राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के आने के बाद आपको देखने को मिलेगा वो ये है कि फोकस और मोड दोनों पर काफ़ी ध्यान दिया गया है. और पैंडेमिक के बाद काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें बदली हैं जहाँ तक फिजिकली इन पर्सन ट्रेनिंग की बात है, लेकिन इसमें भी काफ़ी कुछ लर्निंग हुई है. और हम लोग एज अ टीम ये प्लान कर रहे हैं कि टीचर्स का ओरिएंटेशन, टीचर्स की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग कोई वन टाइम क्रेडिट अर्न करने जैसा या सर्टिफिकेट अर्न करने जैसा ना हो, बल्कि कॉन्टिन्यूअस प्रोसेस हो जिसमें वो लगातार उसे सीखते रहें, प्रैक्टिस करते रहें. और जल्दी ही हम एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म, वो अभी चूँकि कॉन्सेप्ट स्टेज पे है, हम एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार कर रहे हैं जिसमें पूरे देश भर में डॉक्टर संजीव जैसे जो लोग हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं, जिनके पास कुछ विशेष ज्ञान है, अनुभव है, डॉक्टर आचार्य जैसे प्रिंसिपल्स हैं जिन्होंने अपने स्कूल्स में करके दिखाया, उन सबको हम सब तक पहुंचा पाए. तो ये तीन चीज़ें मैं कहूँगी कि पहला है कि समग्र शिक्षा के जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं उनको हम स्ट्रेंथन कर रहे हैं, उनकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को फोकस्ड कर रहे हैं. दूसरा, हम एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म एनविसाज कर रहे हैं जिस पर ये सारी लर्निंग्स डिसैमिनेट हों, अदर देन जो निष्ठा के स्टैंडर्ड हमारे मॉड्यूल्स हैं उसके अलावा भी, ताकि ये लर्निंग सतत बनी रहे. और तीसरा, जो काम करने की इच्छा रखते हैं और विशेष प्रयास करने का जज्बा और मादा दोनों रखते हैं, ऐसे सारे लोगों को इकट्ठा लाकर और एक मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट क्रिएट करने की हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो मेरी तरफ से ये 3 रिस्पॉन्स रहेंगे. बाकी मैं डॉक्टर आचार्य को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि वो स्कूल वाला पर्सपेक्टिव देने की.
स्कूल में सारे टीचर को ट्रेन करना, एम्पावर करना ऑन इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन. हमारे हाथ में काफी सारे टूल्स हैं, जैसे एनसीईआरटी की बुक्स हैं, ई कंटेंट गाइडलाइंस अभी डेवलप हुई है, इवन सीबीएसई की इंक्लूजन हैंडबुक है जिसको हम ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल में कर दिए कन्वर्ट, एंड टीचर्स को कंटिन्यूअसली एम्पावर करते जा रहे हैं. जैसे मैं बताऊंगी, हर स्कूल में हो सकता है काउंसलर और स्पेशल एजुकेटर कैन बी ए लग्जरी ऑल्सो, हर स्कूल में नहीं है, बट अगर एक भी काउंसलर या एक स्पेशल एजुकेटर है तो वो सारे टीचर्स को छोटी छोटी स्मॉल ग्रुप में, जो मैं प्रैक्टिस कर ही रही हूँ, मेरे पास एक स्पेशल एजुकेटर, एक काउंसलर है, तो हम क्लास वाइज सारे टीचर्स को एक साथ बैठ के जो लेटेस्ट आ रहे हैं स्ट्रैटेजी या जो बिहेवियरल पैटर्न है, जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है, हर वक्त हमारी स्ट्रैटेजी काम करे ऐसी बात नहीं है. कभी कभी हमारी कोई स्ट्रैटेजी अगर काम ना करे तो कोलैबोरेशन करके हम लोग इसको फिर से स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज करते हैं. तो हर टीचर को इसमें एम्पावर करें. ये नहीं है कि खाली 5 क्लास में इंक्लूसिव प्रैक्टिसेस हो रही है और डॉक्टर संजीव जैसे अभी दिखाए मैथ्स का, अगर 1-2 टीचर एम्पावर्ड है बट 5 सेक्शन में नहीं हो रही है, तो the whole purpose is defeated. Each and every teacher should be empowered with continuous orientation and empowering programs. And हम इस फील्ड में जो एक्सपर्ट हैं उनको भी बीच बीच में बुलाते रहते हैं. एंड स्पेशली हम एनसीईआरटी का बहुत हेल्प ले रहे हैं, उनकी जो अवेलेबल है, जो भी कंटेंट अभी अवेलेबल है, जो टूल्स अवेलेबल है, उसका हम उपयोग करते हैं। हमारी स्कूल में ही हम सारे टीचर को, हर एक टीचर मेरे स्कूल में इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम में पढ़ाते हैं। एंड एनसीईआरटी में कंटिन्यूसली दे आर आल्सो टीचिंग, स्वयं प्रभा, निष्ठा, वो सब प्लेटफॉर्म में, दीक्षा में, एंड यूजिंग डिफरेंट स्ट्रेटेजीज, जैसे इन्होंने काइनेस्थेटिक मैक्सिमम दिखाया, डिफरेंट टूल्स दिखाया, ऐसे ही हम टीचर को एम्पावर करते हैं कि अपने हाथ में बना के टीचिंग लर्निंग मटेरियल जो भी एनवायरमेंटली अवेलेबल है, नॉट यू हैव टू स्पेंड ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ मनी ऑन टीचिंग लर्निंग मटेरियल, बट एक साथ बैठ के हम ये टीएलएम तैयार करते हैं एंड फिर जाके क्लास में जाते हैं। और मेरे ख्याल से ये बहुत डुएबल है। एंड सीबीएसई की जो हैंडबुक इंक्लूजन के ऊपर लिखा गया है, उसको भी हम ट्रेनिंग मैनुअल में कन्वर्ट किए हैं। बट मैं बहुत खुश होंगी अगर 3 महीने की एक ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल बने एंड ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल हो। ड्यूरिंग कोविड-19 वी सॉ दैट अगर 3 महीने की ऑनलाइन मॉड्यूल अवेलेबल हो एंड हर टीचर, इट शुड बी बेसिक क्वालिफिकेशन। जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि एमबीबीएस डॉक्टर्स को भी ट्रेन होना है, बहुत बार ऐसे होता है कि स्कूल में हम बच्चों को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं बट दे आर नॉट आइडेंटिफाइड ड्यूरिंग इम्यूनाइजेशन एंड नॉर्मल कोर्स। सो अगर हर टीचर को हम एम्पावर करें, अभी बीएड कोर्स में भी इंक्लूड हुआ है, बट एक 3 महीने की या 3 मॉड्यूल की ट्रेनिंग कोर्स एम्पावर हो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन के द्वारा, इट विल रियली हेल्प and benefit whole teaching fraternity.
Thank you, Ritu, and thank you, Dr. Acharya. A very valuable suggestion that we need training, and we need continuous inputs in training, and to cover a larger cohort of teachers so that each teacher in every classroom feels confident that she can tackle. So we have to reach there slowly and slowly. I'm sure we will do. I do wish to mention here in this regard that with the help of our national institutes and our composite regional centers, wherein training related to special education can be provided, even that could be thought of with DOESL and NCERT and NCTE, so that everybody, all the teachers get the training for both, the regular teachers for special education teacher for subject special training, and it's a continuous model. So thank you so much. I'm sure the people raising these questions would have gained from and benefited from this answer. I do want to now take up a question, and I will direct it to Ms. Sumita Chavre with her experience of working on the different modes that they have. The question here is very pertinent, and it says, due to a greater student-teacher ratio, very often it seems quite a hurdle to accommodate the needs of all kinds of students in an inclusive classroom. How will a teacher use different strategies for various students in the limited time slot for the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Over to
That's
you.
a very, yes, ma'am. Am I audible to you? It's a very, very important question that many a times there are 40-50 students are there, and in the 30 minutes time, 35 minutes, how can we cater to the needs of different children? Now, for that, as I've presented in my presentation, that there is a teamwork required. And when special educator, counselor, when they sit together and come up with different strategies, these strategies can be incorporated also in lesson planning. So while planning the lessons, we can also devise some of these strategies for these students. I would like to give this example not in a technical terms, but rather from very household example. I would like to give, like a mother, class teachers, all teachers are like a mother. So when in the family there are some people who cannot eat particular types of food, so we prepare some alternate kind of food. We don't keep them hungry. Same way, when we go to class, we can think about something for the students with diverse needs and go with that, what you call preparation. As we know already, these students are going to be 1 or 2, maybe in each classroom. So when this teamwork is already working, like principal madam or principal, whoever is there, so when we have a team, then it is definitely going to work out.
Thank you so much. Since you are practicing it, so I'm sure it is doable. And यही
Yes,
सबको
ma'am.
सीखना है कि इसी डायरेक्शन में हमें मूव करना है। एक आखिरी क्वेश्चन मैं लूंगी, जो मैं डॉक्टर संजीव कुमार, जिनको आज का मैं जादूगर बोल रही हूँ, इनके लिए मैं डायरेक्ट कर रही हूँ। और इनका ये प्रश्न ये है कि इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम जो है एक बहुत अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट है टू ब्रिंग ऑल द चिल्ड्रन इन द मेन स्ट्रीम, बट विल इट इफेक्ट द स्कॉलरली स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ द क्लास? सो चाहे मैं इससे वाकिफ, मतलब आई डोंट अग्री विद दिस स्टेटमेंट, बट बिकॉज ये क्वेश्चन आया है, I give it over to you कि क्या इससे जो बाकी बच्चे हैं उनकी लर्निंग में कोई तकलीफ आएगी? आपके इस पे विचार।
थैंक यू मैम। ऐसा नहीं है बाकी बच्चों की लर्निंग पे कोई तकलीफ आएगी या कोई वो इंटरेस्ट खो देंगे। आपने देखा ये तो ऐसी लर्निंग एड्स हैं और ये कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्टम में भी है मैम। जब बच्चा इजी कर लेता है तो हम उसको कॉम्प्लेक्स में डाल देते हैं और हम दूसरे बच्चों के हेल्प के लिए उनको प्रेरित कर देते हैं, मोटिवेट करते हैं कि आओ सीखें। मुझे ऐसा कभी अपने एक्सपीरियंस में ऐसा नहीं लगा कि जो शार्प बच्चा है वो इससे डिमोटिवेट हुआ हो। मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि जब मैं पिछले स्कूल में था तो मेरे एक गांव के स्कूल से 4 बच्चे इसरो विजिट के लिए सिलेक्ट हुए थे मैम। बड़े बड़े स्कूलों से बच्चे सिलेक्ट नहीं होते क्योंकि मैंने केवल मैथ्स ही नहीं पढ़ाया है, मैंने साइंस भी पढ़ाई है ऐसे ही। तो मैम ऐसा कभी नहीं लगा मुझे और हमारे पास एवरी टाइप की लर्निंग एड इसमें मौजूद है जो बिल्कुल वीक से वीक बच्चे को भी पढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करती है और बहुत इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे को भी आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करती है।
थैंक यू सो मच। ये सुन के आई एम श्योर जो मैंने अपने इनिशियल रिमार्क्स में बोला था जब मैंने एंड किया था कि हमें एक स्टीरियोटाइप्स कुछ बना लिए हैं, ये क्वेश्चंस भी एक उसी स्टीरियोटाइप का एक पार्ट है। इसी को ब्रेक करने के लिए आई थिंक ये जो बहुत वेल मॉड्यूलेटेड एंड वेल कंसीव्ड ऑफ वेबिनार का टॉपिक है और जो उनके स्पीकर्स चूज गए, वंस अगेन आई कॉम्प्लीमेंट द ऑर्गेनाइजर्स फॉर इट and thank you so much for bringing in this clarity and the fact that I saw the other speakers nodding in agreement with the views which were represented by Dr. Sanjeev Kumar here कि इससे किसी को कोई तकलीफ नहीं होती है। ये एक सोच है, इसी सोच को बदलना है और यही जो वेबिनार है नर्चरिंग इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम्स, इसी थॉट को हमें नर्चर करके हमें आगे मुड़ना है। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ऑल द स्पीकर्स एंड
पहले मैम मैं अपने स्कूल में ये सब काम करता था, फिर मेरी हायर अथॉरिटीज ने भी आइडेंटिफाई किया कि ये काम जो है वो मासिस तक पहुंचना चाहिए। तो मेरी हायर अथॉरिटीज जो है उन्होंने मेरे को यहाँ प्लेसमेंट दिलाई प्रमोशन के ऊपर कि आप डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल में काम करो। तो मैम जितना बड़ा लेवल है उतना बड़ा हम काम कर रहे हैं। हम अब टीचरों को भी ट्रेंड कर रहे हैं, बच्चों को भी कर रहे हैं, कम्युनिटी को भी कर रहे हैं। हम पेरेंट्स के सेशन भी करते हैं कि तुम लोग ऐसा बोलते हैं कि हमारा बच्चा पढ़ नहीं सकता, लेकिन जब हम इससे उनको पढ़ा के सिखाते हैं, डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन करते हैं कि आप बोल रहे थे कि इसको गुणा नहीं आता, देखो अभी इसको गुणा आ गया, तो इससे बच्चे और बच्चों के पेरेंट मोटिवेट होते हैं कि वी कैन डू। हमने मैथ्स के प्रति मैम इंटरेस्ट लाना है। जब तक बच्चों को मजा ही नहीं आएगा तब तक
सही आप बोल रहे हैं, बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये ऐसा नहीं है कि ये एक मैथ्स की तरफ है, इसके अंदर एक डिसेबिलिटी भी है, डिसकैल्कुलिया, जिसके अंदर पता ही नहीं चलता। आप सोचते हैं कि बच्चे को इंटरेस्ट नहीं है या वो नटखट है या वो समझ नहीं रहा, लेकिन एक्चुअली उसको एक डिसेबिलिटी होती है, एक अवर्जन टू नंबर्स इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग होता है, इट्स अ डिसेबिलिटी। सो इट्स नॉट कि उसी की तरफ हमें ध्यान भी देना है, बट वो एक पार्ट डिसग्राफिया लिखने या डिसलेक्सिया पढ़ने में तकलीफ, ये सभी चीजें सब टीचर्स को समझना कि कहाँ वो फाइन लाइन है कि ये पढ़ नहीं पा रहे हैं या हमें ऑल्टरनेटिव मेथड्स करने हैं या एक डिसेबिलिटी है जिसको टैकल करना है। तो बहुत सारी अभी हमारी स्ट्रैटेजीज हैं जिसकी तरफ वर्क करना है, और वो ट्रेनिंग सेशन जो डॉक्टर आचार्य ने बोले वो बहुत एसेंशियल रहेंगे। मैं यहाँ पर आफ्टर थैंकिंग ऑल ऑफ यू, आई विल जस्ट लाइक टू मेंशन कि यहाँ पे फॉर ऑल द लिसनर्स हु आर लिसनिंग इन फ्रॉम अक्रॉस इंडिया, आई वांट टू से दैट there is a feedback form which is live in the link for the viewers, and please feel free to use it. And I will now wind up. There is so much been said, and I feel most incompetent to do this summing up, but since it's been given, the onus of responsibility has been given to me, so I have to fulfill it. I must mention that the National Education Policy 2020 has conceived inclusive education and equitable education in such a wonderful manner that when we were earlier talking in terms of these two broad silos of regular teachers and special educators, now these two will work together and are being conceived and conceptualized in a manner that they'll come together. I think that is the largest and the most critical step that has to be taken in this field in case we have to nurture inclusive classrooms and move towards it. So while the concept was always there, but it was more, I think it wasn't being followed in letter and spirit, if I may put it that way. So there is also the thing that now different departments are working together. For instance, if a reference came for the online digital material which is being created between the special educators and the Rehabilitation Council of India, as well as the Department of School Education and Learning, there is this, the mindset is breaking that people need to work together. It is not separate compartment. It is one goal that we are all attaining. It is also essential that, when we talk about the SDGs, which talks about that there should be equal opportunities for lifelong learning at all stages for everyone, I think the buck starts at least from the teachers themselves, who have to epitomize the concept of lifelong learning and become lifelong learners themselves. And, it is this learning from cradle to grave. So that again gets, when we have to move towards inclusive classrooms. So there's nothing, I know there's nothing like de-learning or, negative learning, but when we have to move towards learning and take a step forward for lifelong learning, it's not as if कि 10वीं होगी और 12वीं होगी, बच्चा अभी तक पढ़ लो, आगे खेलकूद और अपने बाकी चीजें करना. This itself shows that even the teachers need to take the step for lifelong learning and move towards another sphere to be able to become the right teachers and the right shikshak and the right guru to take and cater to all kinds of children. I mean, that is the diversity of a society that we live in. It's got all people from all segments and all with all types of even disabilities and needs, if I may put it that way. So I think we all need to become lifelong learners. And the fact that now there is a collaborative approach of the peers. So the students start teaching, as was brought out in most of all the presentations, that the students need to become peers. So that creates a more compassionate, a more equitable, and a more healthy society where you understand the differences that exist amongst each one of us. And the fact that now parents too become partners and have to be counseled and given confidence that, parents should not lose heart if they were blessed with one such child. There is hope. And the hope is on horizon because already the legislative framework, has already been put in place. The policy is well drafted. Everything is placed. The teachers, as we've heard, are so passionate and they want to, move on this field. So I think the setting is just right. We are on the right direction. We just need to take steps, the right steps. And I'm sure nurturing of inclusive classrooms will soon become a reality, as has been envisaged very beautifully in the National Education Policy. So once again, thank you all for joining in this webinar from all across India, and to our beautifully presented thing by the presenter, the director from the Department of School Education and Learning, Ritu Sen, our three speakers, and special mention to the Jadugar, who had us all enthralled. And with that note, because of the teacher, I would once again end this by thanking our teaching community and our educationists and all the stakeholders in the education sector. A happy Shikshak Parv and happy learning. And please keep joining into the webinars that have been organized by the Ministry of Education. Thank you so much. Thank you all.